Thank you for tuning into Bite Size Science. I'm Dr. Tristan Brandhorst, and today we're going to be talking about mitochondria, what they are, and also where we would be without them. Additionally, we shall take a tantalizing detour into considerations about how mitochondria might figure into the Fermi paradox, but we'll go more into that subject later. The mitochondria. If you went to grade school, you probably know what it looks like. If you finished high school, you may recall that often repeated descriptor, the powerhouse of the cell. You also probably know that it is considered an organelle of the cell, and is present in virtually all eukaryotic cells. Bacteria, the simplest form of life, are prokaryotic, meaning while they have DNA, they do not organize it into a nucleus. Higher organisms are composed of eukaryotic cells, virtually all of which contain mitochondria. The mitochondria's job is to perform the really hazardous work of the cell. It is inside these incredible organelles that sugar is broken down and combined with oxygen, yielding water, CO2, and energy, which they package and export to the rest of the cell as ATP. Think of ATP as sort of being the currency of cellular energy. Now, handling an element as reactive and volatile as oxygen is risky business, and in the course of functioning, many mitochondria are severely damaged by exposure to oxidative stress. We'd say more about this now, but it deserves its own video, which you can find in the comments below. The eukaryotic cell handles this by selectively digesting the damaged mitochondria, recycling them back into their basic components. This leaves the pristine, undamaged mitochondria to reproduce and proliferate when the cell needs a lot of energy, ensuring that every cell has a lifetime supply of healthy, efficient mitochondria. You may have noticed how I talk about mitochondria as if they were distinct organisms, being selected and culled like domesticated livestock, reproducing on their own as if they were some kind of independent parasites. Well, the fascinating thing about mitochondria is that in a way, they are all of these things: organelle, domesticated, and parasitic. Mitochondria have their own DNA, which is distinct from human DNA, meaning they were originally a free-living organism in their own right. Scientists have determined that about 1.5 billion years ago, a prokaryotic precursor to the mitochondrion, which was likely parasitic, and a eukaryotic cell that was having difficulties managing its energy reserves ended up in a struggle for survival. The parasite was probably attempting to invade and infect the eukaryote, while the eukaryote was attempting to fight back by engulfing and digesting the invader. Amazingly, and I say this because we have no evidence that such an event has ever been repeated, even once since this one instance, instead of fighting to the death, they developed a perfect symbiosis. If not for this unique, unparalleled event in the history of evolution and living things, the most complex living beings on Earth would be algae, and the rise of more complicated organisms would almost certainly have been impossible. As an end note, the story of the mitochondrion is particularly interesting in light of a thought experiment reportedly posed by the physicist Enrico Fermi in 1950, which has become known as the Fermi paradox. Stated simply, if life evolves naturally out of the environment on worlds that have the components and environmental conditions to support said life, and intelligent life evolves naturally as a consequence of evolution, then where is everybody? Why aren't our skies full of visitors from distant stars, exploring the galaxy as we might one day hope to? Well, the answer to this paradox may come down to something as simple as the relative likelihood of the mitochondrial symbiosis event. Since this symbiosis has only occurred once that we have evidence for, in all of the billions of years life has existed on this planet, we have no idea how often it occurs in the universe as a whole. We have to entertain the possibility that it has never happened on any of the Earth-like planets that astronomers are now discovering. There's at least a chance that this incredible little organelle is solely responsible for the evolution of intelligent life in our galaxy. Given this fact, and the incredible importance of the mitochondrion in general, It is all the more important that we strive to understand the risks inherent in environmental toxins that affect mitochondria in the cells of living things. For more on these topics, check out these talks in the same series. And thank you for listening.